Caroline's welcome. And thank you to everyone who's in attendance. I know that there are a lot of options for supporting entrepreneurs, some of which are focused on, helping the organization that's helping you to expand their own resources, and others, like what Caroline and Devon and others have put together, that are really focused just on making you successful. And so I'm really thrilled to be coming into the team at this point, and being able to help welcome and encourage you just to get as much out of this event as possible. I know that some of you have been working on your companies for quite a while and are really skilled at just looking for the new opportunities that pop up here and there. And others maybe are really just getting started. And there are resources and people who are ready to help you no matter what stage you are at in your entrepreneurial journey. And so I just encourage you to take advantage of everything that's here. We have some great supporters and funders that believe really strongly in the power of entrepreneurship, both to help individuals to create their own economic opportunity, but also to use entrepreneurship to build economic opportunity for others. And so I hope that as you're going through this program and as you're listening to the sessions and speaking with mentors and making connections, you really feel that belief in what you're doing, both just jumping into the field of entrepreneurship and also in the companies that you're building and creating. It's a really wonderful thing to make something new that benefits people in some way or another. And we're just so excited to have you all here and working with Rain, and with your colleagues on this. Please be in touch if there's anything that we can ever do. Caroline and Devon have gone through a lot of work to make this an incredibly high quality experience, but we always welcome feedback. And you'll be seeing me popping in here and there to events just to get to hear what you all are doing and get any feedback and be able to help in any way that I can. So thank you so much, and just looking forward to the event.
Thanks, Rachel. We're excited to have you here. And this is your third week on the job as CEO, and she's already got it down. So that's fantastic. So as I'm about to transition over to share some slides and do some introductions about who we are and all the amazing speakers and cohort facilitators that we have here to support you over the next 10 weeks, I just want to say I know what it's like to be in your shoes. This is really key. And this is why at Rain, our team of venture catalysts, we're all entrepreneurs ourselves. I have been the co-founder CEO of 2 tech startups that I launched in Oregon. First one was about 15 years ago now. We were basically Pinterest before Pinterest existed. We had a really cool business model. We were really early. We were trying to raise $5 million. And I know what it's like and how difficult it is to raise capital. And even at that time in Oregon, there really wasn't an ecosystem in place like there is today. And certainly the networks that we can connect you to, not just in the Pacific Northwest, but globally. So we managed to raise about $700,000 in that first tech startup, but we failed. And there's another talk I'll do for you guys another time on the top 10 reasons tech startups fail. We made 6 of the 10. And I can tell you that failure, as you all know, I'm preaching to the choir here, is a great teacher. The second tech company I did was mobile marketing and real estate. That was perfect timing. And I had really great co-founders. They funded it, and we ended up doing a techquisition on that. We built and scaled and sold the tech in 11 months. In month 4, I was on stage in New York at the largest real estate tech conference in the world selling the technology, and people were lining up to buy it. So there's a lot of great expertise that you're going to get access to in this cohort. You yourselves are experts, or you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. I just wanted to set the tone to let you know that we've been in your shoes, Devon, the cohort facilitators. We've got tech folks, food and beverage folk, lawyers. We've got people who have scaled, people who have sold. So we're here to support you, and it's really important that you engage. So thank you for showing up on time today. And I'm going to move into some slides here before we get to our amazing speaker, Sierra, who's going to talk about wellness for entrepreneurs. Okay, so welcome to week 1. We are recording the session, but we will not record your breakout rooms because you may be talking about some confidential things when you get into those rooms. Today, we'll just be doing introductions. But I do want to let you know that we will be posting the main session topics into a separate folder that we have for you. And then after the accelerator is completed, we'll put them on our YouTube channel where we have all of our other accelerator content as well. Okay, so who is Rain Catalysts? This is our mission. Really, we do three things, and we only go where we're invited. So we get invited into small, rural, or underserved communities across the globe. And in particular, we started in Oregon. So in Oregon and Washington, we've been invited into 52 communities. And once we get invited in, we roll out our venture catalyst model where we hire an entrepreneur and that person hosts events like this or pub talks or meetups and identifies gaps like capital. And then we try and fill those gaps. But when we partner with communities, we do three things. We're catalyzing an entrepreneurial ecosystem. We're connecting entrepreneurs to resources, including overlooked entrepreneurs and underestimated entrepreneurs, like I like to say. And then we ultimately are hoping to contribute to the creation of prosperous economies. So that's who we are. We are a nonprofit. This accelerator is funded by the U.S. Economic Development Administration. There's a few other supporters as well, but they are our biggest funder. There is a $1.5 million grant that we pitched to the EDA a couple of years ago. It's a 3-year program where they put in $750,000. We go out and raise $750,000. And our key is we never want to charge you for programming. We will never take equity in your programs through these programs. We are literally here. I wish this program existed when I had my tech companies, because it would have been amazing to get access to, oh, I need a co-founder. Oh, I need capital. Oh, I need space. I need equipment. I need sales help. I know how to build a product, but I don't know how to sell it. Okay, well, let's help you with that. So the EDA stepped up in a big way. Only 16 awards were given across the country and only 2 on the West Coast. And we are the one funded for the Pacific Northwest, and then there's one down in Pasadena. So we want to thank them. We also, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are also providing some match funding from 18 rural communities across Oregon. There's 5 counties across Oregon and Washington, and one nonprofit in Washington called the Washington State Micro Enterprise Association. Some virtual etiquette I just want to touch on for a moment. Please, if you haven't already, change your name so we can see who you are, because that will help us call on you. Or you're also welcome to add your startup name after your name if there's space for that. Please remain muted throughout the session, but obviously we want to interact with you. So either post questions in the chat or use the raise hand feature. We have a big team here that's going to be supporting and monitoring in case you have questions or want to make comments. These sessions are meant to be educational, so this applies to everyone. Please don't market your products or services to each other. And knowing that we are here to help you sell, that might sound, counterintuitive, but we want everyone to feel like this is a safe space. And so if you want help selling your products and you want to test it out on cohort members, that's different. That's what the sessions outside of these are for. And just be courtesy and respectful. And if anyone is having any issues, please reach out to Devon, our accelerator director. We want to make sure, again, that everyone feels safe in this space. Some other partners that we have, this grant that I mentioned that we received from the EDA, this is one of the big exciting parts I know many of you are thrilled about, is we did an open search for a venture capital fund who would raise money around 10 million, minimum of $10 million, and take 3 to 5 million of that and put it into companies like yours through this accelerator program. So one of the really amazing benefits, and you'll get to hear from the Portland Seed Fund team later on in future programming about what they're looking for and who they're looking to fund. But it's great because our job as cohort facilitators and mentors and speakers is to get you fund ready, or if you are fund ready, get you to understand the diligence process that the Portland Seed Fund has, so that at the end, if you meet the graduation criteria, our goal is to refer you to them so they can consider you for some funding. Their typical funding amounts, they'll fund as low as 50K and they'll go up to 250. And then they will also help syndicate deals if you're trying to raise more, like in the millions. They'll help syndicate deals with other venture fund partners. And then I'm really thrilled that we have Rational Unicorn Legal Services as our silver sponsor. Lindy is actually one of the cohort leads, so she's going to be a great resource for us, and you'll get to hear from her in some future programming about their amazing law firm and the services that they can provide. Rain has been a longtime partner with them since, I would say, 4 years now, since through the pandemic. And we trust them. They've provided really great legal advice to not only folks on our own team who are entrepreneurs, but many of the entrepreneurs we've served through previous accelerators. So thank you, Lindy and Rational Unicorn. We also want to make sure we have a good resource library, just like those of you who are raising capital from venture funds or angel funds or institutional investors. They'll require you to have a good data room where you set up all your files for them to be able to do good due diligence. We are modeling that here. Devon has set up a shared drive for you. So each week you'll be able to go in and you'll find the homework assignments, you'll find the slide decks, you'll find any other resources that we've thrown in there. If you have resources that you think would be helpful to that week's topic, then please add them to it. It's meant to be for you. It's meant to be your shared resource area. So the agenda that we're going to follow for these sessions, and Devon, if you can monitor chat, I see someone's in there. If there are questions, if you can just let me know. The first few minutes will be welcoming sponsor spotlight. This one's a little bit longer because obviously we're introducing you to who we are and what we do. There'll be a short recap before each session, and then your expert speaker will have about 35 to 45 minutes to talk, including Q&A. We want that to be interactive, so definitely be actively listening and raising hand and posting comments. Then you'll move into a breakout session for about 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending on the topic in the day. When you come back, we'll ask you to do work with your facilitator to pick one of you who might want to do a brief report out on whatever it is that you talked about. Today, you're going to be doing your introductions. And then our mantra at Rain is what's next. And we love that. And we encourage you to create a mantra for your own company, different from a tagline, which really sort of is that internal motivator for your team and for the people that you serve. For us, what's next means, great, you graduated the accelerator, what's next? Great, you got referred to Portland Seed Fund and raised 200,000, what's next? And so it's just that, keeps you motivated and moving forward. And then, of course, between each of the 10 sessions, whoever the speaker is for that week will offer a 1-hour open mentor hour according to what date and time works for them. And Sierra will tell you what hers is. And those are, in order to graduate, you have to attend at least 5 of those. And those, Devon will send out calendar invites with Zoom invitations for those as those get scheduled. Those will not be recorded because a lot of, there may be some, confidential or sensitive items discussed in those sessions. I emailed this to you all in the email I sent out last night, just to give you an overview of the programming that we have curated and the amazing speakers that you're going to meet. You'll also notice that the week after Memorial Day that we're off, we have an open session that we haven't put a topic in, because around the midpoint, we're going to survey you and ask you, what do you want to know more about? Maybe you really want to know more about AI. Maybe you want to know more about capital. Maybe you want to know more about customer acquisition, or maybe it's customer retention once you get them. We will then source that speaker. It may be one of us. It may be someone different. So please let us know. We want to curate. We want to make sure this is content relevant to you. And then as far as graduation criteria goes, you must attend 7 of the 10 sessions. Please let Devon know if you're unable to attend a session. We know things happen. We know that life happens. If you watch the recording and then send some notes back to Devon, we'll count that. But we really would love it if you could be in person to as many of them as possible. And of course, graduation. Attend at least half of the open mentor hours. Submit at least half of the quote unquote homework assignments. And then those who are fund ready, as I mentioned, will get referred to our venture fund partner, the Portland Seed Fund, who's reserving $3 to $5 million to invest in companies like yours. So who are all of you? Just a very quick high level of this awesome cohort that you have here. There's 77 entrepreneurs, 45% female, 44% male. 40% of you are BIPOC, which is really amazing, because the part I forgot to mention about the EDA grant that we received, one of the reasons we received it is because they really wanted us to reach the hard to reach tech founders in Oregon and Washington, women, BIPOC, rural based tech founders, veterans, single parents, and so forth, right? Those who feel they have barriers to accessing capital or don't feel like they fit into the traditional venture capital world. So we're excited that we've hit these percentages, that all of you are here. So thank you. 14% identify as LGBTQIA. 67% of you have raised capital, which is awesome. So you have a pretty good peer group here to tap into. And half of you right now are actively raising capital. It's about a 70-30 between Oregon and Washington. So we've got a good mix. And we also have a great mix of urban or metro versus rural. 64% of you live in urban areas and 36% of you live in rural areas across Oregon and Washington. We've got a great lineup of speakers. We're not going to go through all of them today. You're going to get to meet Sierra Jones. The other speakers are not on the call except for the ones who are cohort facilitators, like the amazing Paula Hayes and Rosemary and Devon. And then you also have been introduced via email to your cohort facilitators and mentors. Hopefully you all remember your number. If not, now's your opportunity to kind of just pay attention and focus on that. You'll see we've broken up the groups into some sort of industry clusters. We tried to do that as much as possible. And as you go into your breakout rooms, your cohort facilitators will remind you of this. After your introductions are made, if you feel there's a competitor in your cohort, just let Devon know, or I'm sorry, let your cohort facilitator know privately, and then we will gladly move you into another cohort so that you feel that you can get the support that you need. And then these are the other folks who are also on the call today that we're thrilled to have various levels of expertise to support you. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to, I'm going to stop my screen share and hand it over to Devon to introduce our amazing speaker, Sierra Jones, who's here to talk with you about wellness for entrepreneurs, which, by the way, is so, so important, something we always need to keep top of mind. Also something unique about this accelerator. We're going to regularly be checking in with you because mental health, physical health, psychological, spiritual health, all of the above is really important, and we care about you first as a human. So thank you for being here, and I'll hand it over to Devon.
Thank you, Caroline. So really quick, everybody's active in the chat. I love that. So if you see my head moving like this, that's just, you guys see the wizard doing his thing. So don't mind me. I'm not having a seizure. Everything's okay. Everything is good. All right. So I am going to be introducing Sierra Jones. Sierra Jones is a distinguished wellness and self-care expert based in Seattle, Washington. She's the visionary behind A Space Inside. If you haven't been there, check it out. A haven designed for personal development, artistic exploration, and fostering a sense of community. Sierra crafts unique programs that marry the principles of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging with holistic wellness strategies. Her initiatives aim to enhance individuals' well-being and strengthening the fabric of community through inclusivity and personal empowerment. So everybody, with my pleasure, I'm going to introduce Sierra.
Hello. Let me get a screen share going really quick. Hello, everybody. 1 second. And perfect. Okay, let's see. This is the one. Oh,
Is it?
I have to allow screen share. 1 second. Here we go. Oh, it's going to make me leave and come back.
That's okay.
Okay, I apologize. 1 moment, you guys.
Yep. Well, while she leave and come back, hello, you have me, Devon Horace, angel investor. Everybody familiar with me by now. I've been sending out emails, making sure I connect with you all. Listen, I am so excited to have everybody here. I was telling the speakers and the cohort facilitators and just everyone, like, our purpose here is to help you. And that's something to be excited about, right? I wake up every day and I'm like, what is my impact on the world? And this is leading towards that. So I'm super excited to have everybody here. I'm glad you guys are gonna be hearing from Sierra and our other speakers, and this is just gonna be a great time. So she's back here, and let's get going.
Awesome.
Thank you
It's
so
gonna
much
be
for
fun.
your patience. Fabulous. Okay. Let me make sure that, are you guys seeing the right screen? Can you confirm if it's the slides up? You guys see it?
Yes, we see a cover slide, wellness for entrepreneurs.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Okay. So I'm going to be covering, or hi everyone, I'm Sierra. I'm going to be covering a lot of topics today and a lot of information today. So my really quick tip is that on the bottom left of every slide, there is a slide number. My recommendation is to write the number down if you have a question, so we know exactly where to pick up at. And also I will have office hours. And then on this page is my LinkedIn. You can always connect with me there. But we're gonna just kind of hop right on into it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about just basic foundations of wellness, go into our mindset and perception, how that plays into our wellness, a bit about our energy bodies, and then we'll move into how to assess our levels of wellness, and then moving on to how to incorporate that into our personal lives, but also into our businesses. So according to the Global Wellness Institute, they kind of define wellness as a little bit more than just like our body being free of disease, but more or less the active pursuit of, going after lifestyle and our choices that we make on a day-to-day basis and how that can lead to our state of holistic health and wellness. So there's a really basic understanding of what wellness is, but really as entrepreneurs, the reason why wellness is so important is obviously to, reduce burnout, get rid of this chronic stress that we're constantly feeling, but also how to navigate the line between our work and our personal lives. And wellness is a big proponent in being able to create that balance, especially as entrepreneurs. And so some quick little fun facts, 72% of entrepreneurs are directly or indirectly affected by mental health issues. And also that 50% of business owners say that they impact their business. So not only does mental health and wellness affect your personal life, but also impacts your business. And I'm sure you all know this, but more importantly, it's like now's the time to prioritize this as you're going through this accelerated program, this phase of growth for all of you. Now is really important to prioritize your wellness. And this goes beyond just the basics of, water and sleep. So I'm sure if you read any kind of wellness tips, they're going to tell you drink water and eat. And I've been a coach for over a decade. And that is honestly the first question I ask my clients is how much water do you drink every day and how much sleep are you getting? It cannot be stressed enough how important like water and sleep is for your emotional regulation. Like 60 to 70% of our body is water. So if you are not drinking water, and you are not getting sleep, that completely affects our immune system, depression, our concentration, our ability to just flow and live. And so at the base of all wellness, it comes to kind of this hierarchy of needs, which is this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but at the bottom of it you'll notice that there's food and water and sleep, and that's our basic like physiological needs. And so in order for us to achieve any other higher levels of needs, we have to make sure that we're fulfilling what is below that. And so at a very basic foundational level, water and sleep are non-negotiable with you. And so if you're finding that you're having difficulties with your sleep or whatever, I would highly recommend looking into like your sleep cycles, tracking your sleep cycles and understanding how to wake up at the right part of your sleep cycle. So regardless of how many sleep cycles you get, if you can wake up at the right part of your sleep cycle, you can still feel energized and rejuvenated. So I'm not going to touch on that, but I just want to stress here that in order for you to feel fulfilled in your life at any level, you have to kind of meet these hierarchy of needs. And so we have the foundational, our food and our water, but then we go into safety and security. And that also goes into like financial security. So a lot of us are entrepreneurs. I think she said 44% of you guys are bootstrapping, like funding your businesses out of your own pocket. And so when it comes to safety and security, developing structures so that you feel safe and secure, and the financial decisions that you're making about your business as well are necessary before you can move into any other areas of your wellness. And so, you know, when we look at, once we've established and are meeting our basic needs, how can we then move into a phase of like feeling really well and feeling like we thrive? And so that leads us to what is like the scientific measure of happiness. And so that takes me into something called PERMA. I know I'm going really quickly through this stuff. You guys will get these slides with like the full understanding, but with once we're able to meet our foundational needs, we have something called PERMA. And this was designed by a positive psychologist, Martin, I think it's Seligman actually. And this model here that you're seeing, and I'll go through it, is how they've been able to determine a way to measure wellness. So we know that wellness is beyond the emotion of happiness. And so how can we create wellness in our lives and measure that? And so this PERMA model has come out where it helps us to, you know, if you think about it as like, as you're navigating the challenges of like life, these 4 or 5 models are what are going to give you the most meaning and purpose in your life, or most satisfaction. And so when you think about in the tech sector, when you guys are needing to, you know, create positive emotions or whatever, failure is obviously going to continue to happen. And so looking at failure as feedback opportunities and try to create strategies where you can just embrace having a growth mindset, celebrate your small wins, and just continue to learn from them and remaining, you know, as positive as you can, but not, don't negate your feelings, but, you know, try to rather flip them. And we'll go into changing your perceptions in a bit. But from there, creating moments of engagement and flow. So when you guys are doing things, I highly recommend the book Flow. But when you are living your life on a daily basis, how can you create more moments of deep work and flow? And so for those who are unfamiliar with the term flow, it's kind of like you get into flow when your skill level is met by a challenge that's slightly more challenging than your skill level. Not too much where you've become overwhelmed and it's stressful, but just enough to kind of challenge you to get you in this state of flow. Because if it's too easy, you get bored and it's disengaged and it's not fun for you. So if you can get yourself into this state of flow with what you're doing or the activities that you're doing, that can help you to create wellness. But then also thinking about your personal relationships and belonging, this cohort is an excellent way to develop stronger personal and professional relationships and connections with folks. And, you know, seeking to like foster other connections outside of work. So going out into community, volunteering your time, joining a class, but stepping away from staring at your phone if you take public transportation, but try to engage with folks around you and further develop your connection to human beings and your relationships. And then from there, it goes into finding meaning. Most of us who are entrepreneurs have a reason or a purpose behind what we're making or what we're doing. And so aligning your work with your personal values can help you to make sure that the things that you are pursuing and that you're doing are in line with what's actually going to motivate you to be successful in that. And so if you know your why, that can help you to, keep that positive mindset, help you to stay in a state of flow, and help you to want to go out of your comfort zone to maybe develop relationships and such. But then even further, thinking about like accomplishment, which is again something that is individual to you. So, if you're thinking about accomplishment, it's just like slowing down to celebrate those moments and slowing down to acknowledge your accomplishments. I know for me as an entrepreneur, I'm always like boom, 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 boom. And I don't take the time to like slow down and receive the compliment and receive it. And I want to just like, for example, you know, someone comes up to you and is like, wow, I really can appreciate the amount of knowledge and depth that you put into creating this structure. And allowed a moment for you to like feel that and to feel that compliment versus like, wow, I really appreciate the amount of time and effort that you put into that structure. How long did it take you? Now you've completely missed that moment of receiving that compliment, but also you miss that moment of really, or an opportunity to connect and to feel. And so when we're celebrating our accomplishments, we want to just slow down and allow ourselves to have that moment, which can then, you know, continue to fulfill us. So with that being said, we looked at, you know, PERMA, so we can incorporate PERMA, positive emotions, engagement and flow, relationships, meaning and achievement, into our, you know, daily lives by just trying to like focus on them, but also think that, you know, it's not just important to innovate our technologies, but how we approach our wellness. And this is a framework in order, a framework that we can approach it and that's scientifically proven to help create wellness and to create wellness. So, now that we understand that, we've kind of gone into our physiological needs and our overall wellness. Another part of this is our mindset and perception. So our perceptions are, or how we view the world is through our frame of reference. And we kind of put on these glasses and these, you know, what we see the world through. And as we grow up, our teachers, our parents, our belief structures and our values, all of that comes from our teachers, our parents, our mentors, and those who teach us as we get older, and our experiences. So our cultures, and all of that. And that goes to, you know, kind of tint the colors of our glasses. And as we go through this world, we forget that we have these glasses on. So everything that we experience has been filtered through these glasses. And for some of us, our glasses are yellow. For some of us, our glasses are rose colored or blue or whatever. And every time, you know, we experience something, our reality becomes distorted. And so if we understand that we're perceiving through these lenses, then we also have to then recognize how can we take them off and how can we see this difference of perception. And so we have to use our brains, and we kind of have to understand that our brains are biased. Our brains are tricky, but also the good part is that they're a muscle. And so with our brains being a muscle, we can work them out and we can use them and shape them to our benefit. And so, you know, our brains are programmed to take the shortest, quickest, fastest route to a destination. That is how our neural pathways are designed. And so our brain is going to take that strongest neural pathway that has been formed. And so when you want to change your perception or change your mindsets, you have to recreate or help your brain like develop a new neural pathway and another way, you know, another path that it can take. And so the thing that most people have difficulty with is understanding that we have positive emotions and negative emotions. So positive emotions, happy and joy, and it could even be content, anything that's not a negative emotion. But negative emotions affect us like 3 times as much as a positive emotion. And that goes back to, you know, flight or flight, neurobiology. Like we need to know when something bad is going to happen. As human beings, we have to know this. And so our negative emotions produce stronger reactions in us, which is why we have ruminating thoughts. We will replay like that mess up you had in a meeting, or, you know, how upset a moment makes you. It's going to happen because that's how negative emotions work. And so to counter that, we want to try and have like 3 positive emotions for every 1 negative, which is kind of, you know, or, you know, 80% of our emotions be positive, about 20 are negative. But if we can recognize when we're having these negative emotions, which will go into ways to kind of change our mindset and perception. But when we recognize, or that awareness that we're having a negative emotion, or we're perceiving something negatively, how can we step out of that and maybe perceive it a different way, or change the way that we're looking at something? But also the other thing is that when we can look at something outside of the way that we're initially programmed, we can see it from another perspective. For instance, like I'm losing my train of thought here, but the point here is to say, like, our brain is biased. It's going to seek out whatever you say. So if you say like, I am not strong, and you go to pick something up and it might just be difficult because you grabbed it weird, but your brain's going to go, see, you're not strong. And to like be biased to that. So you want to try and reshape what you're thinking in a positive light. So I lost my train of thought on this, so we're just gonna move on. But so my intention was, though, is to consider a shift in your perspective, right? So if you can think about things from a feelings perspective, and that can kind of shift a negative emotion into a positive state. And so a lot of people will say, like, you'll set this big goal of, I want to buy this house, and you'll have an idea of what that house is, but then maybe when you go to achieve it, it doesn't kind of feel like, all right, I got the house, cool. But it's not that you want to buy the house, it's that you want to live in it. And if you can think about what it feels like to live in it versus this idea that's outside of you of, like, signing a check and cool, I bought this house and it's on paper, there's a difference in how that emotionally shows up for you and how that energetically shows up for you. And so this like change in perspective can help you align your goals to be more in alignment with your why, and kind of shift your perspective a bit. Now, I'm going to very quickly touch on, or these next two, or this next slide, is kind of going into some NLP, and NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So I'm an NLP master practitioner. I have like 9 certifications. Oh, my thing's blurred. I have 9 certifications in NLP. And what that is basically how your mind perceives language. And it's like the foundations of positive psychology. NLP was positive psychology before that existed, basically. And so in NLP, there are some techniques that can help you to shift your mindset from a positive to a negative, and to help to shift your perspectives. And so I'm going to take you all through both of these exercises very quickly. And then again, I highly recommend hitting me up in office hours if you want to kind of go through this as a, further. And so NLP offers many methods to change our mindsets. And one of them is this idea of kind of manipulating or changing our internal imagery and imagery and associations, but also how to associate and disassociate from a situation. And so one of the techniques I want you to kind of go through, let me get... Okay, so the technique on the left is about manipulating your internal story. And so we all tell ourselves a story, and whether you think it or whatever, our mind doesn't know the difference between a visualization or it actually happening, or a memory. And so when you go through and think about a previous memory that you've had, you can kind of manipulate the story, whether it's like adding funny elements. So on the left-hand side, this monster, got a tennis racket, then a hat, then a tutu, and all of a sudden, this internal critic of ours kind of lost its power. And so I will take you through a quick exercise to do that. And so I want you to, oh wait, I actually left it out. So, but basically the intention here, so if you think about a moment where you've had like a disagreement, or a moment that might have created an emotional response in you, if you can play that movie back in your head from start to finish and see yourself and see what that looks like, and then go back to the beginning of that image now, and I want you to turn it black and white, for instance, because if you turn this mental picture black and white, it kind of removes some of the psychological power and it reduces the image. And the same thing could happen if you, play funny clown music over it or put a clown nose on the person that you're talking to. But when you manipulate your memory or record of this memory, it kind of reprograms your brain. And I I highly recommend, like, if you're looking at a scenario where you're experiencing a heavy emotion, to stop for a moment and try to replay this memory. But also another technique that you can use is to kind of step through different perspectives. And this is more in alignment with kind of what you would do for yourself, but also for your business. And so with this idea, it's kind of like when you're playing this memory in your mind, you want to step from the first position where you see yourself and you're focusing on the situation through your eyes, what you feel, your thoughts, your reactions, all of that. And you stand stand inside your own shoes, see, feel, hear exactly, what happened. And then you want to move to the second position where you're standing in their shoes. And so this is the second position, which is a position of empathy. And so when you step into someone else's shoes, you can look through their eyes. So what are they feeling? What are they seeing? What are their needs? What are your needs that you're seeing through them? What are their frames of reference that they're perceiving this all through? And so when you can look through their perception, like, consider how, a team member or a stakeholder might have perceived a scenario. What are their feelings? What are their motivations? What color were their glasses? And then lastly is stepping through the third position. So that's an external observer. And so if you think about scenario or disagreement that you were replaying, from this third perception, there's no emotion here. This is where you look at it and you think, like, were either of us listening? So you think as an observer, what are the insights? What insights can you see about the dynamics that are at play? What, other solutions might be available from this different vantage point? And so when you look from your own perception, you kind of see what you want. From the other perception, you can kind of step and look in through their frame of reference and what their beliefs and values are. And then to the third, it's like outside, what other, non-emotional, energetic connection to this can be. So after you can, shift through and work through your mindset, the thing to remember is that this technique helps you cycle through the different perceptual positions to kind of gain a holistic understanding of the situation, helps to foster better decision-making, helps you to be a little bit more empathetic and understanding of other people. But also this can be done even when looking at like the needs of your customer. So what do you see? What do they see? And then from a third point of perspective. So you can use this, stepping through perspectives for many different ways, but then also how to manipulate the internal story to, like, reduce its effects. But the alternative to manipulating story is also amplifying it. So turning something to be, like, very vivid in color, remembering everything you've seen, everything you felt, or, creating what you see, feel, hear, and really immersing yourself in that environment can amplify those feelings. And all of that ultimately affects, our emotions affect our energy. And I'll touch very quickly on this because, we got a lot of time to do. But ultimately, our perceptions shape our reality, but our thoughts and our emotions and perceptions don't just reside in our mind. We have energy bodies. And one thing that we tend to forget as we're moving through this physical world and having our physical experiences and going through things is that we ultimately, at the very core of who we are energy. And everything that you think, say, and do is energy. And so the way to think about the energy. So there's 7 main chakras in the body. There's hundreds of them along all the median lines. But the 7 main ones to think about is kind of like Wi-Fi hotspots. And when they're in alignment, you get these good, strong signals. You feel well, your internet is just working good, right? But if it's unbalanced, you're getting drop signals, things aren't working right, you're not able to connect to the programs you need. It's just like all systems are just not right. And so these energy bodies tend to be really forgotten. But I think we can all say that we've walked in a room before and been able to feel like, oof, someone might have just had an argument in here. Or, ooh, the tension in here is kind of weird. And that's because we are all energy and we can feel those things, and we can kind of feel when things are off balance. And this matters because understanding and balancing your chakras can help enhance your productivity, your creativity, your decision making, everything that these 7 main chakras, are psychologically and physiologically attached to better. But the thing to also remember is that dis-ease and imbalances show up in your energy body before they ever show up into your physical. And so when you are off, your energy will tell you far before that knee pain becomes physical pain, far before you start to get the headaches or migraines. And so this is really important because you have to pay attention to the things that you are spending your energy on, the things that you are giving your energy to, because again, everything we think, say, and feel are energy, think, say, and do. And so, I like to think about energy as currency, and you get a certain amount of energy that you get to spend per day. I mean, when you're paying attention to something, you are paying attention to something. And when you're spending mental energy, physical energy, energy to digest, it's also a reason why food is so important. I mean, water is so important. It helps your body to digest that energy and break it down, because we need to just support our whole energy system as much as possible. And when you focus on like ruminating thoughts, you're still spending energy. And so how do we kind of make sure that we're also acknowledging our energy bodies? And actually, I'm going to just skip over this slide, but just say that there's a rice experiment by Dr. Emoto, where for 2 weeks, he took 3 jars of rice, and the jar that he did nothing on, said nothing to, kind of, got a little molded or whatever, as you can see. And then the jar that he spoke nothing but good words to was like, I love you, you're strong, you are powerful, you're kind, all these great words. It looks like you could probably eat that rice. And then the jar that he spoke negative, nasty words to is like, I hate you, you're nothing, you're an idiot, gets all molded and gross. And I've tried this myself. You guys can totally try it yourself, but it just, I included this here to highlight the power of our words and our thoughts, and how that all affects our energy bodies, because it's all a, energy system. And so some ways to impact our energy bodies and kind of help get those better into alignment. There's internal and external practices. I'm not going to list them all. And I would just say what really works for me is incorporating wellness practices into my daily lives and the things that I value. And I want to touch a little bit on crystals, because people are like, huh? Because I know we're some science folks here. So crystals are kind of like resonance frequencies. So when you think about the little thing that tinks, the metronome that can like tink like this, and you start it, and then eventually it starts to get into this wave and frequency. And so crystals each hold very particular vibrational frequencies. And so when you can have a crystal and bring it closer to your energy body, it starts to turn your energy body into a higher resonance frequency and doing this. So that's why the crystals are an external practice, but can help you to raise your vibrational frequency. Or you can have crystals that resonate with different chakras in your body to help open those up, or to get them into better balance, and so forth. So I'm going to move very quickly through these last couple slides, because assessing your wellness is going to be your homework. I want to put a little tidbit about journaling. I think that journaling is an excellent way to keep track of your wellness, also to kind of document where you're going or do like a habit tracker or whatever, but just to have a space that you can come to let out and be. It doesn't have to be on paper. I really enjoy the new Apple Journal app on Apple iPhones or whatever. You can, do a voice memo, photos, whatever, but having to or taking the time to reflect and taking the time to go back in your day and think about the moments where maybe someone did give you a compliment, but then it just got talked right over. And, so it gives you, a space to go and be able to reflect and, remember those moments. But as Tony Robbins once said, who's also a fellow NLP master practitioner, is that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions that you ask. And I couldn't agree more. And so when you go think about self-reflection and think about, addressing your total wellness, you want to ask yourself the right kinds of questions that can lead to, growth. So one of Tony Robbins' famous things is like, when you think about the worst thing that has ever happened to you or happened to your business, or think about the worst part of your journey thus far, and ask yourself, how is this the best thing that's ever happened to me? And try to really shift your perception. How could this be the best thing that's ever happened to me? Why did this happen to me? Instead of, why did this happen to me? I mean, instead of, why am I so unlucky or whatever, you're innately putting on this perception or these glasses of this being bad. And so your frame of reference is automatically going to perceive this as something negative or something that's bad. And so when you are reflecting and, analyzing situations or whatever, remember to ask yourself the right kinds of questions. Instead of, why did this terrible thing happen to me? It's why is this the best thing that has happened to me, and shifting that. And so I've included some good questions for you to consider that are in this slide deck for you. Yeah, it's like, if you could design the perfect outcome, what would it look like? What would you lose by changing your current perspective or approach, and what could you gain? So just, some questions there. I'm going to move through that. As we talk about change in your homework assignment, the thing also to consider is that there are logical levels of change. So in order to the higher levels of information organize the lower levels. So if you change something, or if you focus on something on a higher level, it's going to impact the lower levels. And then if you change something on the lower levels, it can impact the higher levels. And so this is just kind of here as a guide and a reminder that these are kind of the levels or areas that you can place your changes in. And so your tools for reflection. So this is going to be your homework assignment. I want you guys to take a look at PERMA. And as you're going through, your homework assignment is to do a life wheel and think about how PERMA, or think about how satisfied you are with PERMA in each of these areas. And if you've never seen a life wheel before, what you do is just rate it on a scale from 1 to 10 with the little dot there. I would recommend doing this now for homework, and then again at the end of the program in a different color to see how these areas have shifted or changed. I've also included a list of core values for you. It's important to make sure that what you're doing on a daily basis is in line with the core values that you may have. So there's a list of core values that are here, but these are kind of what guides our internal decisions and what's going to give us true, happiness. So making sure that the goals and routines and such that you are creating are in alignment with your core values. And the way to get to understand your core values, because most people are just like, look at a list and you write them all down and that's great. Which you'll start with that and make a list of what you think. But then also I want you to then further ask yourself these questions. What is important about respect? When I get respect, what does that give me? If I have money, what does that give me? Security. And if I have security, what does security get me? Security gets me to, you know, be a role model for my kids. And why is that important? What does that get me? So taking your values a step further and really getting to what these core values are. And those core values are what makes, you know, you and should drive your actions. And so how much time do I have? I think I'm over.
Yeah, you have a couple more minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, sweet. I'm gonna just zoom right through these again, come to office hours. Okay, so creating a company and life, again, looking at PERMA. So you want to kind of infuse PERMA into your business model if you can, because that's what's going to give you happiness, but also that's what's gonna make people want to work for you and want to work at your company and help you to retain excellent, you know, talent and employees. So infusing PERMA into that. Also having boundaries. I know that a lot of us entrepreneurs have a difficult time setting boundaries. And so I really highlight the importance of boundaries for balance. So, you know, making sure to time block time or set up time in your calendar for your self-care routines and incorporate that into your life. So if you have kids, I would highly recommend incorporating wellness into your life with your children. So for me, I wake up in the morning, which I will, actually, I will just show you. Oh yeah, okay. So for me, I wake up in the morning and I do yoga with my kids. I meditate with my kids because it's important for me to be a role model for my children, one of my values, but also to show them what wellness looks like and how to live a life with wellness. And so I do it with my children, and that meets multiple values and needs for me at the same time. So these are some tips for, you know, setting boundaries and finding balance in your life. I'm not going to read them. They're here for your pleasure later. But I want you guys to think about routines and habits as systems and processes for your wellness. Just like you have systems and processes for your business to scale and grow, you need systems and processes for your wellness. And just because, you know, you're starting to feel better, and you're like, oh, you know, I'm feeling great. Maybe I don't need to do X, Y, and Z. No, we want to continue to meditate every day or whatever, you know, works for you as your wellness and your habits and routines, but making sure that you're continuing them even when all systems are going, all systems are good. That's when you want to keep maintaining it so that everything stays good. A lot of entrepreneurs will kind of go up and they're like, oh, I'm here and everything's great. And then wonder why things start to crash because you're not sleeping, you're not getting the water, you start to fall off on your routine. So using them to create systems and checks and balances to make sure that you're doing this and reflecting on a continuous basis. I'm not going to touch on this, but I hope that you guys read James Clear. He speaks about atomic habits and the feedback loop. So in order to, or how habits are formed, and it's basically you receive a cue, you have a craving, and then you have your response and you receive your reward. And I'm including this here so you'll have some examples for your knowledge. But in that same regard, you can create habits using that same framework by making it obvious, making it attractive, making it easy, and making it satisfying. So this takes you through an example of that. Same thing goes for breaking a habit and how to do that. One of the last things I'm going to leave you with is the compound effect. This is in Darren Hardy's book, The Compound Effect. And basically, if you, you know, we all make small incremental changes, or if we all make small incremental changes, eventually we'll kind of see this compounded effect of those decisions. And whether you make a choice or not, you're kind of on this line. You make a choice for good. If you don't make a choice, then it can be for bad. And as you're living your life, if you think about someone who, you know, two different men, one guy said, hey, I want to start cooking more. And that's an innocent decision. And so he starts to cook more, inviting his friends over more. And then all of a sudden he starts to notice that maybe he eats on average 200 calories more per day. That's not very much, but 200 calories per day can add up and have a compounded effect. So if you decide, let's say, to work out every day and you go running every day, and let's say you reduce your caloric intake by 200 calories per day. If you look at those same two people over a span of 2 years, someone's going to be, gained 50 something pounds and the other one's going to probably have lost. And it doesn't seem like it's very much. It's only 200 calories per day, but the compounded effects of the choices and decisions we make every day are who determines the difference of who we are and who we want to become. And so the way to do that is to make smart decisions every day. And to, follow your routines. So you can read further about the compound effect in Darren Hardy's book. And I will go into habits and routines. I leave you
And
with,
Sierra, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. You have like 2 minutes just
I was
to,
gonna say, I was gonna leave you with this,
yeah.
is that when you're creating your habits and routines, you don't want it to be a job. You don't want it to be like, oh, I gotta get up and go read now for 15 minutes and then I gotta go jog and this and that. That doesn't help anybody. You want to do things that are in flow with your energy, and make sure that you create time to incorporate your values, and incorporate PERMA into your daily lives. And what does that look like? So after you reflect, and do some assessments, try and develop routines. My other really big tip for entrepreneurs is to have a workday startup and a workday shutdown routine. What that looks like for me, like when I start up my day for work, is I write down my top 3 activities I'm doing, or review my goals for the week, so I know where I'm at, and then review my notes from the day before. And then as I'm shutting down, it's like clear out my inbox, close all of my Safari tabs, clean my downloads folder, clean off my desktop, and so forth. But it's also important to kind of time block and allow yourself the space to, still have flexibility. But if you time block, it's ridiculous to say, like, I want to paint every morning for 15 minutes so I can get my hobby in or my craft in and feel fulfilled. That doesn't make sense. It'd make more sense to take, 30 or 45 minutes on a single dedicated day than to try and, like, I must craft every day so I can, have my hobbies or whatever in there. So that's my little tip there. Some last ideas would be to just integrate nature into your life, aromatherapy and crystals for that resonance frequencies, and find creative modes for self-expression, develop a community, and just incorporating mindfulness. So, question. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sierra. And you can stop the screen share so we can see everybody again. Great tips. A really amazing information there. And one question I have for everybody here, and this is just something to think about as far as this ties in specifically to Sierra's talk. How many of you were also checking emails and doing other things while Sierra was doing her presentation? I mean, just be honest with yourself. I'm not asking you to raise your hand. It's that presence is totally aligns with mindfulness. And I just want to remind you guys that it's really important that you take this time for yourselves. This hour and a half is for you. And we want to make sure that we are providing really good content for you and that you can be present. So anyway, just something to reflect on for yourselves, right? As you're kind of going through. But Sierra, that was really awesome. Thank you so much. I know that I'm going to hand it over to Devon next. He's going to talk about the open mentor hour that Sierra has. Then we're going to go into the breakout rooms and then conclude for the day. So thank you again, Sierra. Go ahead, Devon.
All right, so really quick before I talk about the mentor hours, it was so much information shared. I just want to sit in that. I got my crystals right here.
Yeah.
I was like, crystals. I got my crystals
Yeah.
ready to go. But all those the core values, some of the things that Sierra covered, I'm going to share that within the shared drive. So really quick, because I know we've been sharing it in the chat for a bunch of times, and I'm loving engagement in the chat, by the way. Keep that up. I just posted a link. Save it, bookmark it, put it where you need to put it. Don't write it down because that's a long link to remember. Click it, save it. How do we submit homework back to Rain? You would talk about that with your cohort facilitator, but that is a great question. And then also, so the link is there. Please save it, bookmark it. And also, I will be sending out a calendar invite via Zoom for Sierra Mentor Hours, which is going to be Tuesday at 10 a.m. And again, I'm going to be sending that out via Zoom link. So you'll see that coming soon for those for her mentor hour. Cool? Yeah.
And you'll submit your homework, you'll email it to your cohort facilitator, and then cohort facilitators will provide a special area for you guys to upload that info because it's confidential information on some of these. We don't want everybody else to be able to see that. So we'll get that information out to the cohort facilitators as well. But okay, let's move into the breakout sessions. We're going to set it for 17 minutes for introductions and have a good time getting to know each other. And we'll see you on the flip side. And Devon, how are you doing that? Are they going to pick the number or have you already assigned them? Can you remind?
Yeah, so you have your breakout room number. If you don't, you will be left in the breakout room with me. But you should be allowed to join your breakout room now. Please go to your assigned rooms. There we go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Have fun. And those who are left over, you're stuck with me, and I'll put you in a breakout room. Awesome. Awesome.
Hey, Devin, can you throw me in the breakout room number 5? I'm on my mobile. I'm currently connecting on my desktop, but I don't have access to select the breakout room.
Devon, and then you said that's Alex?
Yeah, thanks.
Alex, hold on a second, Alex.
Oh,
Wait,
there we go.
yep,
I'm joining via desktop, so I'm gonna hang up here and then I'll see if I can probably join myself on my
okay,
desktop.
I'm on my mobile and I can't join.
okay, 1 second, Terry. What group are you, Terry?
Number 8.
Number 8, okay, 1 second. All right. You should be able to join now. All right, awesome. All right, hold on. I'm looking at the breakout room. Somebody asked me a question. It says, how do I switch to breakout room number 9? Daniel, did you figure it out? Is he
No,
still here?
no. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, 1 second, Daniel. Let me help you out here. Breakout room number 9. Number 9. There you go. All right. Rose, you don't know your number? Don't worry. I have all the numbers. Let me find it real quick. Let me see.
Button, can you hear me?
I can't hear you now. Hello.
Awesome. Great. I'm joining room number 5.
Okay. Rose, you are cohort room number 8.
Hey, homie, how do you switch to 8, man? I'm not following this. I never use this.
Yeah, no worries. So you will, Chris.
Yes.
All right, I just sent you there. Rose. Just sent you there. Who else needs some help? All right, Roman, what room are you in?
I believe it's number 5.
5, 1 second. All right, good to go. Jim, you're on my screen next. What room you in?
Number 8.
All right, 8, there you go. Who else I got here?
I'm here. I don't know what number I'm
Brennan,
supposed to be on.
yep, 1 second. What number are you? Brennan. Oh, okay. I'm going to add you here for now. And then we will, I'm gonna send you to group 9 for now. And then we'll switch it up if we need to. All right, Michelle, do you remember what room you're in? Okay, 1 second. Michelle. You are in room 10. I'm gonna send you there now. All right, room 10. There we go.
Hey,
Who else we
Devin,
have here?
Yvonne Leach. So Gregory, Yock, and myself need to be in the same breakout group. I
Okay,
believe we're in 7.
let me check. Yeah. Yvonne.
Yeah, and there's nothing popping up on my screen that gives me the option of joining a breakout group.
Well, the first, yeah, it looked like we're having a little issue. Some people have a little issue with that, but the first time we do it, we will be able to have everybody like saved in that group. So you're in group 7. So I'm gonna send you both there now. 7. And then Fireflies, note taker, David. Oh, that's just a note taker. All right. Gregory, you're in your room? Okay, cool. All right.
Open mentor session. And then, of course, as we said, what's next? Here's your amazing speaker for next week, Kiana Patterson. She's extremely impressive. She's down in LA, I think. She's had made, 30 million in investments. She's experienced in, I'm not going to read it because we're over time, but she's going to be really awesome. And her topic is, it's blocked here. I can't see it. Okay. Validating market problems.
Yep.
But Devon, is there anything else you wanted to close out before we sign off?
Yes, I'm just gonna second what you said. Thank you everyone for joining. This is the first day. Round of applause for everybody. This is the first day. We all made it through the first day. I'm sure everybody, looking at everybody's faces, everybody seemed excited. You got more good things to come. Sierra Jones, thank you so much for kicking us off the right way. And in the words of a great speaker of the Tech Accelerator, Brain Tech Accelerator, innovate how we approach our wellness. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Sierra. Good seeing everybody. We'll follow up with an email with all the links that you need to get to the homework and the open mentor hour. And then cohort facilitators, if you can collect the homework from your group, and then Devon and I will give you a link for where to put that. But huge gratitude to all of you. Have a great day. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Be well.
Thank you.
Be well. Yes, good way to end it. Be well. Stay well.
Be well.
That was awesome.
Good. Glad you liked it.
Hey, Caroline, this is Dan. I sent you an email that has a screen capture of all of the participants.
Oh, good. Dan, it's so good to see you again, my buddy
Hey.
from Newport. But are you living in Corvallis now?
Yes, I'm in Corvallis now.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you. I've missed you. I'm glad you're in this group.
Yeah, it'll be good. I think it's time to accelerate. Everything is all set. I just need, I need help.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. See you later. And folks that hung back, did you guys have questions for us? Okay. Well, we'll see y'all soon. Great job, Devon. Great job, Sierra.
See ya.
See you later. Bye-bye.